22 years ago, when I started to do the play, the number of women who would come up to me afterwards would literally line up to talk to me. I thought, great, they're going to be talking to me about their wonderful orgasms and their sexual desire. And in fact, what most women were lining up to tell me was how they'd been raped or battered or incested or abused.
Where does it come from, violence of men toward women?
Patriarchy. I think this is the question I've most thought about for most of my life, having been brought up and been a survivor of sexual abuse and incredible violence. Like, why? What compels men to be violent? What compels men to rape a woman who's telling you to stop? What compels men to grab someone's body at work or harass someone or undermine someone? It's basically, first of all, about domination and a belief that there is one superior gender to another and they have the right to dominate. It's a belief in the all-powerful father. But really, if you look at what it's about masculinity and toxic masculinity and bringing up boys to believe, for example, that they can't be weak. And what that means, weakness, is that you're emotional, that you're vulnerable, that you're able to cry, that you're able to express your longing and desire and your doubts and your empathy. Empathy is completely ruled out because empathy makes you weak. If you look at military training, right, one of the first things they beat out of young recruits is their feelings. The only thing you're allowed to feel for is your buddies. Right? That's the only place you're allowed to have emotions. You're not allowed to feel worried. You're not allowed to feel fear. You're not allowed to feel like vulnerable or terrified, or you're certainly not allowed to feel any empathy for your enemy who you will be killing, because if you feel for them, you will not be able to kill them. What is in the hearts of men that allows this kind of violence? It's the same thing that allows us to destroy the earth. It's the same thing that allows us to separate immigrant mothers and migrant mothers and undocumented mothers from their children. It's the hardening of the heart. And that patriarchal kind of bubble is the bubble under which the entire planet right now is suffocating and being incinerated.
Where was your mother when this was happening to you?
My mother was as much a prisoner to patriarchal oppression as I was. What was she going to do with a violent man who was her husband? She was just as afraid of him as I was. We all were. We lived under his tyranny. You know, I look at the predator in chief who is ruling this country now, right now. He is kind of the prototype for that tyrannizing, bullying, do whatever I want, take whatever I want, get whatever I want, dominate, occupy.
Why are there so many women still pro-Trump, given all of this obvious evidence of what kind of human being he is?
Women who have not come to consciousness, who have not woken up to their own oppression, who have not passed through that really painful journey when you suddenly realize how deeply betrayed you have been by God the Father. When that betrayal happens, there is a heartbreak that is very, very difficult to encounter. And you are thrown into a loneliness and a sense of isolation and a sense of being alone that is really hard to process. But then you pass through that. I think women who haven't awoken to that consciousness yet are always allied with the oppressor, because it's much safer to stay in the safety of a zone which is familiar, even if it's your oppression. There are battered wives before they reach that point where they are willing to stand up to their abuser. They are the greatest defenders of the abuser. To reckon with what is being done to you, to understand the oppression you're suffering, to step into the pain you are actually feeling is really, really difficult. There are reasons why people have a hard time coming out against abusers, coming out against tyrants, coming out. I mean, why did all of Germany, eventually march behind Hitler? Because there was a process where they were entered into that to believe in a story of the Führer, the father who would save us, and we're going to follow that father wherever he's going to go. And it's happening all over again here. So I think to stand up to the father, to say the emperor is going to destroy the planet and is destroying the planet, means you have agency over your life, and you're going to make a directive and have purpose and take action to change that future.